afternoon, students. Welcome to Micro Teaching Online class hosted by your lecturer, Ms. Alfan Deuniama, for both secondary groups and also senior primary groups. All right, today's topic is how to develop a lesson plan. Okay, so, well, what is that you need? I would like you to brainstorm, okay? You go back to your syllabus and start planning. You know, you have already done your lesson plan? Yes. So, how to plan a lesson? So, questions that you have to ask yourself: how will I teach? Do my students understand? What am I teaching? Who am I teaching? You are planning for your lesson. So, let me take you through how to develop a lesson plan. Before lesson plan. All right. Okay, I still want to take you back to our teaching tools. Okay, last time we discussed about the syllabus, how to interpret your syllabus. Now that you have your syllabus ready, now you are expected now to use a syllabus to develop your lesson. All right, so as you can see, you already have the IUM standard lesson plan template. So this is what you're supposed to do. This is the form or the lesson plan template that you're supposed to use during the training. Okay, and I told you already that when you're going to schools, you might find a different template, but the components and the objective for the lesson plan is always the same. Okay, so this one is suitable for those who are doing senior primary and those who are doing secondary level. All right, and then it's form 3A. So that is the IUM lesson plan template form. Okay, now we do have about how many components? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So in total, we do have 8 components, and you must all know what to do with each part of these components. Okay, what you're supposed to write when you're preparing your lesson is quite easy. The first one, this one is just your information as a teacher. All right, so the subject, I still want to use the syllabus for economics today. Still, okay, the subject is economics. The name of school, that's up to maybe a Ishipena or so, okay, Ishipena. And then the grade, so of course, the syllabus that I'm going to use is for grade 10, so I'm going to teach grade 10s. And then you just put your name. All right, so please make sure that you have a soft copy for this lesson plan, so that when you prepare a lesson plan, you're supposed just to type in the way I'm doing it right now. So the number of learners, you can actually put 10 because I already put you in groups of 10s. And then your student number, you just put your student number, and then the date is going to be like, okay, today's date is 24. 24/05/2020, and then the time. What time is your lesson? Is it at 10 o'clock? Is it at 12 o'clock? Or is it at 8 in the morning? Also, so you just put any time. All right, maybe it's 10 o'clock. Okay, and then this part. This is the most important part. The topics. All right. Now, where do you get the topic? So now we come back to our syllabus. Okay. So this is the syllabus that I used last time when I was interpreting the syllabus. So you come, let me say it's your first or your second lesson, so it depends. So you have to use your syllabus to look for that topic, right? So make sure that the topic, they follow each other the way they are listed in your syllabus. So you come to your syllabus. So this is the first topic. This is actually the theme, and the topics under the theme, they are 1, 2, 3. So I decided, okay, fine, I'm going to teach. Okay, maybe this one you taught it the previous day. So I'm going to teach the types of economic systems and economic resources. So copy the topic the way it is. Please do not change anything. Then you come and you say, okay, this is what I'm going to teach, the types of economic system and economic resources. All right, so sometimes you find also the subtopic, but this one is the main topic. Sometimes you find the subtopic, meaning that if there's a subtopic, you first write the topic and then you put a slash and then you add that subtopic if there is a subtopic. The length of the period, usually, remember, in our syllabus that we interpreted last time, is usually 40 minutes. That's what we say. It's usually 40 minutes lesson period. All right. Then voila, you're done with your component number 1. Okay. Now, number 2. Okay, you come to component number 2. Now at component number 2, there's this keyword. Remember last time I told you about these keywords? These are very, very important, especially when you are preparing your lesson. All right. So, well, where do you get this? The aim of the lesson, learners will. Learners should be able to. You go back to your syllabus. You look for those keywords. So meaning that you find learners will and learners should be able to. All the syllabus, they do have this keyword. This is what you must look for. Yes, sometimes the layout of the syllabus is quite different, but this keyword, they are in each and every syllabus, whether it's senior primary or secondary. All right. So, of course, remember our topic is the types of economic system. So, learner's will is always one statement, is always one sentence. Can you see? It's one sentence the way I explained before. So, you copy it exactly the way it is. Make sure you don't change anything at all. Right. And then you just come and then learner's will. And then you just paste your learner's will. Sorry about that. I put in the wrong column. And then you just paste it there. All right. Learners will demonstrate understanding of economic resources in different economic systems. Now, learners should be able to, you go back again to your syllabus. All right. And then, of course, now this is where the tricky part comes in. There are how many of them? 1, 2, 3. Now, you look at them and see, can I teach all these 3 in 40 minutes or not? Now, you look at it, describe the factors of production, labor, land, labor, capital. They explain allocation of resources in the market, planned and mixed economic system. So now it's up to you. Do you think you can cover all the 3 in 40 minutes? No, this is too much because you are expected to describe the factors of production, which are land, labor, capital, and there are 4 of them. So probably this one will just be even enough for 45 minutes. That just for that day, you must just teach learner how to describe the factors of production. Then you just copy exactly the way it is and you come and paste it here. Right. So please make sure that you don't change the objective. Okay. Copy them the way they are from the syllabus. Don't change anything. And then if you are teaching 2 of them, so you do the same again. You put all of the second one there, but only when you know that you'll be able to cover that content in 40 minutes because you only have 40 minutes. All right. Good. Now, I assume that that one is enough because you have to describe the factors of production, land, labor, capital, and each of them you have to explain to the learners. So there are grade 10 learners. So I believe that that is already enough in 40 minutes because remember, you still have to teach, you still have to give learners questions. Time to ask questions. You need to give examples and demonstrate and so on. All right. Then once you're done, then you come to component number 3. Statement of students' prior knowledge. All right, statement of student prior knowledge. What do they mean by this? All right, remember that these learners of yours, they already know something about land. They already know something about labor because that is the topic for the day. Do not focus on the topic, focus on the objective. Learner should be able to, because this is what you're supposed to teach in that lesson for that day. All right, so now describe the factors of production, land, labor. So what do you think learners, they already know? All right, then you just write no. Learners knows factors of production around them, factors of production from the environment, or from the previous grade, or whatever. They know something about land because that is what we work on every day. The labor, they know that their mom or their parents, they go to work, or the capital or entrepreneurship when the selling comes in. So you must just put a statement on what you think learners already know about the topic that you are teaching for the day. It should be a statement, not a question. Okay, so learners' factors of production, learners know, okay? know or have seen, factors of production from the environment, or they've learned it from the previous grade, or from their homes, or from their community, or from their society, or just their own general understanding. So you just put a statement on what you think learners already know about that topic. Right. Then you come to the assessment of the learner. All right. So each and every time, whenever you are teaching, this is the learning objective, right? Then yes, you are expected now to assess that objective. All right. So now, how do you, it's up to you as a teacher to plan. How do you want to go and assess that? Are you going to give them a homework? You just say, oh yes, homework. Okay. It can be homework, it can be a classwork, it can be a project, it can be anything, but not everything in one. So it's up to you now to see what are you going to do. Are you going to ask them only questions? Ask them questions during the class. So it's up to you, but for you, you just want to know whether learners understand, and then the objective is being achieved. All right. Then you come to number 5. Number 5, there are actually how many? There are actually 4 components. So the use of technology. Remember, we are living in the world of technology, and you want to make sure that you integrate it in your teaching as well. Because the way we are doing now, we are even learning online. If you don't know how to use technology, then it's a problem. So each and every subject that you'll be teaching, there should be at least, you have to integrate technology now and then. It doesn't have to be every day, but at least you must always make sure that learners are using technology sometimes. All right, let me say no, giving them assignment or homework, it should be typed, because you said you are going to give them homework to be typed in Microsoft, in Microsoft Word. Right. So that's another way of them. Or you ask them to go and search for meanings of factors of productions, factors of production online, or also online and so on, right? Or pictures or whatever, right? And then the learning environment, the classroom organization. How are you going to arrange your class? So probably they will be sitting in pairs. Sitting in pairs. If you say you're going to give a group work, make sure that you say no, they're sitting in groups of 4 learners, or they are going to sit in rows. So it's up to you how you are going to arrange your class. So if you are going to give a pair work, make sure that you say they are sitting in pairs. If you are going to give a group work, the same thing applies. If you just them to do individual, they're just going to be in rows. So it's up to you. Now, again, the most important part is resources and materials that you're going to use. Okay, remember in the syllabus they stated that their textbook, the prescribed textbook for each and every subject. Yes, that is a starting point, but that doesn't mean that every day we might just use a textbook. That could be one of them, textbook. That could be one of the resources. It can be posters, because probably posters, you are teaching factors of production, land, labor, capital. Perhaps you want to have posters on land. We want to have posters on labor and so on. All right. So you can say you are using your poster, and sometimes some students, they like to put like, okay, a whiteboard or chalkboard. So marker pens, or chalks, or it depends, or rulers, whatever you've been using during that class, okay? Or handouts, if you're not going to use a textbook, perhaps you're going to give handouts, or it's up to you, right? So, but make sure that whatever you list here is only what you're going to use for that day to teach the types of what the factors of production, I mean. All right, and then the last one is English across the curriculum. All right, English, this is the medium of instruction, right? And it's compulsory. So again, you have to integrate it in your teaching. Of course, we teach in English, that's a fact. So how are you also going to integrate English in terms of reading and writing? Okay, you say no. You ask during the class. Maybe you ask learners to read on the definition or describe the effect of production from the textbook, and so on. All right, and then writing. How are they going to practice writing? Probably you ask one of the learners to write a sentence on the board. Ask learners. Make sure that you are so specific. Ask learners to write a sentence on the board, right? Something like that. So they are practicing English in that way. And the last one that usually give a lot of learner stress is about HIV and AIDS cross-curricular. I know that one sometimes you think, what is happening here? But of course, as I say, we have cross-curricular activities that we also have to integrate in our teaching. So meaning that, yes, sometimes maybe you have to educate some of the subjects. They already have that topic on HIV and AIDS, which is integrated. But now this is whereby you have some time to encourage learners to be aware, to create awareness among the learners about this HIV and AIDS pandemic, which is just make sure that you are using it in a positive way and not in a negative way. Okay, good. Now, the last part and the most important part is now this is now where you have to create, where you have to create that picture of how you are picturing your class the next day when you are going to teach. All right, so we have 3 tables. We have teachers' activities, we have learners' activity, and resources. And all these 3 columns, they talk to each other. Okay, they correspond to each other. So whatever happened in column 1 must correspond to whatever happened in column 2, and so on. Okay, I already explained this to you in class, but some of you probably they are just doing it for the first time. All right, now what's happening here? Remember this introduction, the first one, introduction, development, and conclusion. So what you usually do is you can say, okay, what will happen during introduction? All right, introduction. Usually what I advise students to do during introduction is to recap on the previous lesson. Recap on the previous lesson. What was the previous lesson? Okay, you can easily even see it from your syllabus. Your previous lesson was about this, isn't it? It was about, because this was the last objective from the previous before we go to the factors of production. It was to evaluate the implication of specific courses of action in terms of opportunity cost. So meaning that you have to first recap on what happened the previous lesson, all right? And it should be a topic, the objective, the previous objective. If today you are teaching objective 2, meaning that you recap on the objective 1. So that is what it means by recap on the previous lesson. So you recap on the previous lesson, which was opportunity cost, all right? So you must make sure that you indicate what was that topic about. When you recap, how are you going to recap? Maybe by asking learners questions, all right? Ask questions. So you're done with your recap. So recap is different. You can ask questions, you can ask quiz, you can ask learners to stand up and say no. If you did not give me an answer, you're not going to sit down. There are different ways of recap. Now after recap, now you try to introduce the new topic, or first you can acknowledge learners' prior knowledge. Prior knowledge. Okay. Prior knowledge on the new topic now, on the new topic that you want to teach, which is factors of production. All right. So how to acknowledge? You remember we have this statement here. Okay, it was here. The statement is actually talking to this now. What learner or statement of learner's prior knowledge and experience. So it's talking to the statement. So it should be connected to that statement. Whatever you said here, learners, they know factors of production from the environment, from the previous grade or so. You just simply ask them, okay, who knows the factors of production? What are the factors of production? You can even ask them questions, okay? So whenever you say acknowledge learner prior knowledge on the topic 4, how are you going to do it? Again, you say ask them questions. What are the types of factors of production, or something like that? All right. So once it's done, then you introduce what? You introduce the topic. Okay, the topic. You say, okay, yes, because you asked them question already about the topic. You say, okay, yes. So today we are going to talk about the topic, which is factors of production. Right. Good. Now, this is the teacher's activity. Now, what will be the learner's activities? When you recap and you say you're asking them questions, okay, what will be the role of the learners? Answer questions, isn't it? Answer questions. All right. The next one, acknowledge learner prior knowledge on the ask them question again. You say answer questions. answer questions. And then the last one, perhaps you just write it on the board. Introduce the topic, which is factor of production, by writing it on the board, for example. Okay. And then you say, of course, what is that? Then you say, they listen and follow. Something like that. All right. So, and then the resources, because here you say chalkboard, of course, there's a chalkboard. So here it depends now on what, if it's question and answer, there's not really a need of the resources. But if you want them to use a textbook or whatever, when you ask them question for them to get answer from the textbook, let me say you are teaching accounting, and then you say, okay, go to page what, do these calculations, then of course you can say it's a textbook. But if it's only questions, maybe, or general question, just the discussion question, then you don't need to put anything, you just leave it like that. But where you say you are using a board, I expect you to put the resources here. Then you're done with your introduction. Okay, then you go to the development. The development now, this is whereby now the teaching is happening. What is happening now? Once you introduce the topic, what's going to happen? Explain. Just remember, we are using the keyword from the syllabus. Describe factors of productions. Okay, to the learners. To the learners using examples. All right. So now this is now whereby, okay, what's going to happen if you describe it? So maybe learner, they listen and observe whatever you're doing. Okay. And then later on you go and teach again. You say, no, okay, describe what is learned. Make sure that everything is being taught, and then you describe what is labor. You understand? And you go on like that. So so now, but when you say describe what is learned to the learners, what are you using? Okay, is it there is probably a picture, using a picture, using a poster, if you say you are using a poster, or explaining whatever. And then learners will listen or ask questions, or if you say you're going to ask them questions, and then you say, okay, no, they are listening, or whatever. So this is how it works. And then make sure that everything goes together. So if you're using a poster here, I expect you to have a poster. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is, whatever activity, if there's one activity here, there should be a corresponding, the learner must also respond to that activity that is happening. So these things, they work together like that. All right. Then once you're done, then you say, okay, you come to the last one, which is conclusion. Okay, conclusion. Conclusion. All right. How are you going to conclude? Okay. So you say you recap of the lesson. Okay. By doing that, maybe by asking questions again. So there are a lot of ways. It depends on what we are teaching. So sometimes you can give a quiz. Sometimes you can give any type of assessment, or you can say, no, explaining the homework to the learners, and then, okay, fine. If learners, you ask them questions, if they have to answer questions, answer questions, and so on. All right, then you're done with your lesson preparation. So at the end, if there's a homework, you say, okay, a homework, maybe if it's on page, you say, okay, economics textbook, page 10 to activity 2, something like that. And the ending date, you put the date if it's the next day, or whichever date, if it's 26 May, and then you say, okay, that is when you expect for them to submit, and then you're done. The reflection of the lesson, this is, you only write it after the lesson, whether the lesson was successful or what it was not successful. So you don't need to put anything when you are preparing, because you are going to say, okay, yes, my lesson plan was successful, or it was not successful. All right, students, if there's questions, please make sure that you send it through our forum or our chat room, and then so on. Okay, I hope this one is clear, and then next time we are going now to learn how to prepare teaching and learning materials. All right, bye.